أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم مرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إن تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجر وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحيينا وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون. وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك التقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر والليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. وآية لهم أن حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون. وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا شريك لهم ولهم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين. وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون. وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين. وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا نطعم ما الله يشاء الله وأطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. ويقولون متى هذا وعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأذداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مركزنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواج في ظلال على أرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قول من رب رحيم وامتاز اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تأكلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء طمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانة فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمر نكس في الخلق أفلا يأكلون وما علمناه شعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم ير أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللنا لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إن نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقنا من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين واضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال ما يحيي الذي وهي رمين قل يحيي الذي أنشأ أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعلكم من الشجر الأكثر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو خلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم سورة مباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, we'll just begin the program. Could I kindly ask people to move forward a bit? There is a lot of space here. We may have people coming in a bit, so please come just a little bit forward. Thank you so much. Can we please welcome Sheikh Arif Abdul Hussain to give us his address and talk with a loud naras. Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With heartfelt condolences to the families for the loss of a beautiful baby, I'll just say a few words to remind us of our nature of our journey here within this plane of our existence. We are extremely blessed as people who belong to a faith that recognizes God at a very intimate level, not simply as a master who rewards and punishes, but God as an intimate friend, as the Quran depicts his relationship with his creatures. What that does is, it allows us to open up to God and to bond with God and to rely upon God. Here it is that we find meaning in life, and we understand that no matter how unbearable life may become, because we have a watchful, caring, parental God, He knows what is happening to us and He knows what is best for us. You see, Imam Hussain, in one of his du'as, he says, "Oh Allah, what makes it all very bearable is that you watch over these affairs." And at another point, he says to Allah, "O Lord, allow me not to plead to you for the postponement of a decree that you choose to hasten towards me, because you know in your infinite knowledge that that is better for me. Allow me to accept that decree." So the sufferings that we go through in this world, these sufferings have a meaning and a purpose. Without God, we would be very broken and we would crumble under the pressures of life. Life is not a bearable thing, it's a difficult thing. Life is not a bearable thing. But with God at the helm of our universe, we immediately recognize that we were never meant for this world. It's a passage in our journey. And it is described in the Quran as a brief passage. We know that these experiences will not continue. They will end. There is a reason for everything to happen. In addition, we know that there is a purpose, deeper purpose in the things that are happening to us. Additionally, we know that God is kind. Not just He is kind. He is a loving God. So He would not do anything that is unjust to us or allow anything to happen to us that is unjust, because a needless God would not do that. And then we remind ourselves that God, you are needless, you are kinder than the kindest parent. And I know my parent would never intend me to suffer. But I'm suffering nonetheless. So from here I know that this suffering means something very different to the way I am understanding it. So allow me to have that vision, accurate vision, so I know why I am going through these sufferings. Once we open up to God in that way, we begin to realize that everything has a purpose. And the central purpose is for us to relieve ourselves of the falsities of what we have become engulfed in. We were never these bodies that we associate with. We were never the gains of this world or the losses of this world. The gains were never meant to bring joy to our hearts to an extent that we lose sense of ourselves and our God. The griefs of this world were never meant to break us so fully that we lose sense of ourselves and our God. They were all there to relieve us of the falsities that surround us. That is the reason we came here in the first place, to find ourselves once again. Look at the story of Hussain ibn Ali. His tribulations know no end. Every difficulty is more intense than the one that precedes it. Yet, at his final moments, he is radiating. Now, a person who has lost his Abbas and Akbar and Asghar, how can such a person radiate at the peak of tribulation? What was happening to that blessed soul was that it had gone through a journey of being purged of falsities. When it is purged of falsities, then the only thing that remains there is the untarnished beauty of the Divine Himself. And that emerges fully. Think about this very, very carefully. Has anything remained the same in this world? Nothing remains the same. Everything changes by the moment. Our bodies are withering away. They will not stay with us. But the inner being wants permanence. We want nothing to change. We want to remain healthy, young, wealthy. We want to have a good family. We want to have friend circles. But even the earth upon which we reside will be brought to an end. Even the galaxies will be destroyed. Nothing has permanence. This want of permanence is a delusional want. And this inability to accept change is what is causing us inner toil and suffering. We want to hold on to comfort. But comfort is not our position, it's the position of the body. It's delusional to think that this world is going to stay the same from a moment to another. The whole purpose was for us to be tested in order for that beautiful light of God to emerge through us. As far as we are concerned, as we move through life, we are supposed to let go of the bodily identity and tendencies. This fear of sickness, we need to let go. We have to embrace sickness when it comes. This fear of poverty, let it go. If it will come by the decree of the Most Blessed One. The one who brings goodness to us through health, intends goodness for us through sickness. Death is going to come. Don't begrudge death. Open your arms and embrace it when it comes. The whole idea is for us to move beyond the bodily and bring the best out in us. Now, what ruins our peace of mind is loss. You say it was never ours. Then why is losing so painful? If we can understand it accurately, we can use that pain in order for a deeper gain. Now, God, being the most beautiful one, will not do injustice to anyone. You see, I firmly coming towards these types of understandings that we have existed prior to coming here. From my reading of the Quran, this is coming through. We have also known each other based on certain hadith literature, but rationally it makes sense before coming here. We may have understood very well that we will be supporting each other in this life to assist each other upon our journeys. Baby Hussain may have made a pact that I will come here, I will cause you that grief, and that grief will be a step towards you reclaiming your own inner godly light. And in that way, that pact may have been made. Because otherwise, things become very arbitrary and out of the control of God. And God also becomes somewhat unjust. So in order to retain the beauty of God, we would have to think of things differently. Now look at the verse of the Quran. Indeed, we will test you through the diminishing of your wealth, through fear, through lack in your offsprings or your fruits. But when all of these things happen to you, give glad tidings to those who immediately pronounce that we are Allah's and we are constantly returning to God. Upon them are salutations and mercy from God. Now look at how these people are praised. Because it's not a mere pronouncement, it's a reminder that this was never mine. I always belong to my God. I never belonged to this world. And the people of this world, the glory of this world was never mine. As it is being snatched away from me, I am reminding myself that I always belong to God, and through the process of removal of falsity, I am returning to my God. And as Hussain said, what has he lost, the one who has found you? O Lord, and what does he find, the one who has lost you? It is but a dream and a mirage in which we falsely understand ourselves to be something that we are not. Now we have all these difficulties and suffering. Now they are in place. They are in place. They are there for a good reason. But sometimes we unnecessarily exacerbate them, compound them, prolong them. We are habituated in prolonging negativity. And there is no need for that. Especially not for the people of faith. You see, if somebody is going to shoot me in a week's time, I will start worrying about it from today. And I've killed myself 7 days in advance, 7 days before my date arrives. To say to Allah, When death is due, you will kill me. No one can save you. And if you kill me, I'm going to come to you. You are my God. Why should I even pray to you to prolong my life? I'm tired of this world as it is. Obviously, I don't want anybody to kill me and go to hell for my sake. Make it in a way that I get killed and that guy also gets saved. But think about it. Think about this. The way we are stuck in there, in this false world of ours. People offend us and people bring joy to our hearts. And that makes our moods and breaks our mood. How feeble we have become. How without God we have become. When God is invited within the chest, by Allah, things diminish in value. They do not mean anything anymore. Gain and loss of this world, what difference do they make? Hussain says, so gloriously, O the one who has taken care of me in my yesterday, when I was unworthy of mention, when I could not even ask you, when I could not even be worried about my tomorrow. Will you abandon me in my tomorrow if you have destined my tomorrow? How he relieves himself of his worries. You are my God. I claim you to be my God. I rely upon you. I know you are the kindest parent. You are kinder to me than I can be to myself. Why should I cry at the grief that comes to me? Why should I worry about my tomorrow? What difference does it make if 30,000 naked swords stand before me? O Lord, if you take me, who can save me? If you save me, who can take me? But O Lord, when the invitation comes to come to you, why should I resist you in the first place? I find our lives a little bit strange, to be honest with you, including my own. You know, we say to Allah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. To you am I devoted only, and from you I seek help only. And then I cry and complain to others about my misfortunes. It doesn't mean anything to me, O God, and I'll be very honest with you, my dear Lord. And you know that. You see, it's a strange life. Stranger for a believer than a non-believer. For a non-believer, the poor soul does not have any recourse to God. But for a believer who has God, these states are quite inconsistent. They should not be there. How wonderful is Hussain. At the falling of Akbar, he says, the world has become an unwholesome place after you, O child. It has become a darkened place for your old father. Then he turns to his son as he breathes his last. And he said, O child, by taking you so early, God has relieved you of the tribulations of this life. Look at the way in which he understands Allah. Look at the way his relationship is with God. Isn't that amazing? Through his suffering, he is growing and becoming more and more refined. A blessed soul is one who, when the messenger of God comes and stands before him, he does not get perplexed but says, why did you take so long? Why did you take so long? I feel estranged in this place and have been yearning to come back home. The Blessed Prophet, after the conquest of Mecca, he said, Gabriel came to me. He said, Allah says that you have delivered the message. After his final pilgrimage, you have delivered the message. If you wish, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor and see what prevails of glory in this world. And if you wish, I can bring you back to me. But in any case, your reward will not be diminished. So his wives asked him, Dear messenger, what did you reply? The Prophet said, I said to Gabriel, tell my God to take me back home. So they lamented. They said, why didn't you stay with us? Why didn't you choose to stay with us? He says, no, I belong somewhere else. I've done my time here. Let me move away from this prison. You see, if we believe in God, then we need to fall in love with God. Honestly, we need to fall in love with God. We need to overcome our fears. We need to overcome our frustrations. We need to overcome our anxieties. This is no way to exist. Fighting, frustrations, grief, wars. This is no way for decent, dignified human beings to exist. It is not right to go to bed at night preoccupied with what people are saying or what will happen in the morning. It is not right to be fearful. It is not right to be filled with anxiety. It is not good to have a begrudging heart. It is not good to not be caring. It is absolutely not right. It is not good to sleep at night with offending any other creature of God. Forgive all. Become transparent. Become as clean as clear water. As Hussain said about his Sahaba, there is no impurity that touches them. Like pure milk are they. Blessed am I with such people by my side. No, this is not a good place to be in the way we are as a human community, and especially so for people who call on to God. This is not right. If we make a mistake, then quickly seek forgiveness. If we offend people, quickly say sorry. Because that's our human condition. We will do these things. If something is taken away from us, yes, be heartbroken, cry, lament, but then make that grief and pain a means to increase the light of God within our chest. Let us not give our mouths a rein to talk bad about others, to talk excessively. Let us busy our tongues in the remembrance of God. Let us not keep on thinking what people are saying and people are doing. Let this mind be free of this mental cage. Let us not allow our hearts to feel all these turbulent emotions. Let us bring them to a state of calm. Let us feel the presence of God so close, that when we are in difficulty, we say, "Oh Allah, but who do I have but you? I leave it upon you. I lift the burden of my shoulders and I place it upon you. For who can be better than you to take care of my affairs? O Lord, you see how my heart pains. I leave it to you. O Lord, there is hard-heartedness in there. There is ill feeling in there, and I do not wish to hide from you. Relieve me of these maladies. Make it pure. O Lord, allow not other than you to dwell within this chest." That is where we need to be, and that opportunity is today. I read a hadith, and I want to narrate this actually because it's just come to me and my time is over as well. The hadith states that on the day of Qiyamah, people will say to God that, "But we loved you." Like Imam Ali says in Dua Kumail, "But you witness in there is nothing but you." So some people will say, obviously Imam Ali's proclamation is absolutely true. But let's say somebody like me will say to God that I have loved you, and you see that. So the hadith says, it's a strange hadith. It's a very human type of a response from God, as we find in the Quran, human types of responses, because He's relating to His human creatures. So God will say, if indeed you are true, and if indeed I was the pinnacle that you aspired, then go and fall within hell. And the hadith says that would be the most difficult part for a soul. When I read that hadith, I said to Allah, but you know, I don't have the strength to fall into hell. You know I don't. I'll be honest with you, I don't. I'm not going to lie to you. And if that means that my love for you is not solid, then solidify that love so that I can burn in hell if that's what you want. And make that pleasing for me. And then I was reminded of God beyond God, the God of Ali. You know what he said? He said, Lord, I can't bear that place. You know I can't. But oh Lord, if I were to go to hell, then be by my side so that I know I am burning with you next to me. But oh God, if you were to remove your presence from me, then how will I be there without you? Such is the firm relationship we need to establish with God. You know, what a wonderful thing it would be when we see and meet with our God and we say, I lived for you and I died for you. I breathed for you and I stopped breathing for you. I tried to speak for you and then I remained silent for you. There are many moments that I'm not proud of, and you know that. And I never hid them from you. I have always been transparent in front of you. I am the most despicable one, but I know you love me. But at least I have this much that I can say to you. And I want to finish with the hadith. That on the day of Qiyamah, this is a hadith from the Sunni literature, and I don't distinguish between Sunni and Shia, and I detest sects in Islam. I detest them. It's wrong. It's horrible. It's against Islam and against the Prophet, against the Quran, against the Imams. But I also detest religions in this world that they are competing against each other in the name of one God. It's a very wrong situation in which humanity is. I hope to God that within a couple of centuries we get through this phase that has been plaguing us for thousands of years. In any case, there's a hadith from the Sunni sources in which God will call his creature in private. And God will say to his creature, do you remember all these moments in your life that I concealed from the eyes of the onlooker? And the creature will say yes. He said, I did not cause you embarrassment. The creature will say yes. Allah will say, on this day, I will keep concealing them so no one else but me knows this. Imagine, that is God. And the heart of Ali will cry out, oh Allah, expose me to them all so that my love for you can be the purest love. So I can say, people can spit on my face, throw stones at me, but at least I'm true that I am yours, that I valued you beyond all of them. That is the heart of a divine man, immersed in the love of God. Anyway, Imam Ali says in his Dua Kamil that, Lord, forgive me all the sins that your scribes have noted of me, and forgive me all those sins that you concealed from the scribes that accompanied me. And you know why God will conceal them from the scribes? Because like a very parental God, God does not want the scribes to turn to him and say, look at this creature of yours. You forgave all his sins and now he's sinning more. So God, to save that embarrassment, just conceals it from the scribes. You know, when we find God, we find love in its entirety. The love of a mother, a father, a spouse, a sibling, a child. Love in its entirety, untarnished. But I suppose we have to take this course in life to get there, relieving ourselves of these burdens that we are carrying in our human condition. When I look at the story of Hussain, Salamullah alayhi, I find that each one of his tribulations was unbearable. But what was at the core of his heart was something that had to be brought out for him to fully break. Now Akbar falls from his steed, but Hussain stands like a warrior and walks away. Abbas falls. His back is broken, but he musters enough strength, walks away like a lion. But then there comes a test beyond all tests that he could not have anticipated, that finally caused this mountain of resolve to crumble and brings this great defiant warrior to his knees. He holds a child in his hand, and the neck is slit in his lap. Hussain trembles so violently that we do not see him losing control to this extent in the entirety of the tribulations on the day of Ashura. This great mountain of resolve comes to his knees, and after that we find this great soul begin to radiate with the light of God. When God reclaims his own to his own self. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow our baby Hussain to be present here, witnessing our commemoration in his beautiful remembrance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his parents abundantly. May Allah bring no grief to them beyond this. May Allah bless both the families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them lives in which they progress in their godliness. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all our marhumin. May Allah hasten the reappearance of our blessed Imam and grant us the opportunity to serve our human family in his divine presence. Let us pray Fatiha in the name of our little baby for the marhumin of both the families and all our marhumin. Al-Fatiha.
Thank you, Sheikh Arif, for those heart-touching and deeply awakening words, which I'm sure have touched us, each and every one of us in some way. Could I kindly ask Murabbi Mehdi Bhai Panji to come to the podium to share a few words of poetry? And we welcome him with the salawat. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بفضل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. सबसे पहले شیخ عارف کا میں تہ دل سے دونوں فیملی کی طرف سے شکر گزار ہوں کہ انہیں علم سے بھرپور مجلس ہمارے سامنے پیش کی. خداوند متعال ان کے علم میں اور اضافہ کرے. اور آپ سب لوگ کا تہ دل سے شکر گزار ہوں دونوں فیملی کی طرف سے کہ آپ اپنی مصروفیات میں سے وقت نکال کر معصوم بچے کی ترہیم کی مجلس میں آپ حاضر ہوئے ہیں. اقبالیات سے میں شروع کرتا ہوں. مٹ جائے گناہوں کا تصور ہی جہاں سے اقبال، اگر ہو جائے یقین کہ اللہ دیکھ رہا ہے. یہی شیخ جو بتا رہے تھے ابھی. دل پاک نہیں تو پاک ہو نہیں سکتا انسان، ورنہ ابلیس کو بھی آتے تھے وضو کے فرائض بہت. سر جھکانے سے نمازیں ادا نہیں ہوتی، دل جھکانا پڑتا ہے عبادت کے لیے. اقبال نے توڑ دی تسبیح اس لیے، کیا گن کے نام لوں اس خدا کا جو بے حساب دیتا ہے. کوئی عبادت کی چاہ میں رویا، کوئی عبادت کی راہ میں رویا. عجیب ہے یہ نماز محبت کا سلسلہ اقبال، کوئی قضا کر کے رویا کوئی ادا کر کے رویا. چونکہ 40 امام بھی ہے. کبریا حسین، مرتضی حسین، مجتبی حسین، مصطفیٰ حسین، اولیاء حسین، اوصیاء حسین، انبیاء حسین، معجزہ حسین، ہے بقا حسین، ہے عطا حسین، ہے صلہ حسین، ہے جزا حسین. جو کہا حسین، جو سنا حسین، جو لکھا حسین، جو پڑھا حسین. ابتدا حسین، انتہا حسین، لا الہ حسین، کربلا حسین، کو بکو حسین، سو بسو حسین، جو بجو حسین، رو برو حسین، گفتگو حسین، آرزو حسین، جستجو حسین، میں کا تو حسین، حوصلہ حسین، نقش پا حسین، راستہ حسین، رہنما حسین، راستی حسین، سادگی حسین، عاجزی حسین، تازگی حسین، آگہی حسین، روشنی حسین، زندگی حسین، بندگی حسین، قائمہ حسین، فیصلہ حسین، نظریہ حسین، زاویہ حسین، آسماں حسین، صائبہ حسین، کہکشاں حسین، گلستاں حسین. 40 اور بی بی زینب. کیا بتاؤں مقام زینب کا، اس میں اعظم ہے نام زینب کا. میں تو کیا خود قصیدہ پڑھتے ہیں میرے 12 امام زینب کا. تیرے در پہ بھی آئے گا جبرائیل، تو بھی ہو جا غلام زینب کا. اللہ اللہ حر تیری قسمت، تجھ کو آیا سلام زینب کا. سارے نبیوں سے کہہ رہا تھا خدا، دیکھا تم سب نے کام زینب کا. بن گیا خود علم سا کاغذ پر، بن گیا خود علم سا کاغذ پر، لکھ رہا تھا میں نام زینب کا. چل رہا ہے عزا کی صورت میں، اللہ اکبر. 2 جہاں میں نظام زینب کا. آج جو 40 میں آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں 22 ملین لوگ، یہ زینب کی دعائیں ہیں. اور سید سجاد عزیزان محترم، چل رہا ہے عزا کی صورت میں 2 جہاں میں نظام زینب کا. ماتم شاہ اور یزید کے گھر، دیکھ لو انتقام زینب کا. دیکھتا ہے حسین کا سجدہ، خود بھی رک کر قیام زینب کا. زینب حیدر کبھی نبی کبھی شبیر ہے زینب. قرآن اگر حسین ہے تو تفسیر ہے زینب. حفظ و اما کی دین پہ زنجیر ہے زینب. बादे हुसैन नाना की सफीर है ज़ैनब, बेतेग लड़के अब्बास अलमदार बन गए और लहजे में आज हैदरे कर्रार बन गई ज़ैनब। अजीजों, मिलता नहीं था कोई सहारा यजीद को, ज़ैनब ने इस तरह उजारा यजीद को। खातून जंग कर नहीं सकती, खातून जंग नहीं कर सकती, इसलिए खुतबों की जुल्फिकार से मारा यजीद को। और चूंकि मासूम का मातम है, मासूम की तरहीम की मजलिस है हमारे हुसैन अली असगर, तो अली असगर के बारे में कुछ दो अल्फाज और एक सिर्फ लफ्ज मसाइब का। तुम समझते हो कि मैं छोटा सा एक बच्चा हूं अली असगर, उम्र में कम हूं, खैबर के अली जैसा हूं, मैं भी ला सकता हूं खेमे में उठाकर दरिया, बात यह कम है कि अब्बास का भतीजा हूं। ये तबस्सुम मेरा तलवार से कम थोड़ी है, गर्दने उससे मैं 9 लाख उड़ा सकता हूं। और उस यही हुआ था जब सूखी जमान अपने लबों पे फेरा था तो दुश्मन में तहलका मच गया था। जाने क्यों शाम से टकराती हैं फौजें जाकर, मैं तो बस बाबा के हाथों में अभी खेला हूं। मेरी रग रग में रवा खून अबू तालिब है, करबला में तेरे खैबर को उड़ा सकता हूं। इसलिए चूमते हैं मुझको सभी अहले हराम, मिसले कुरान दिले शबीर पे उतरा हूं। मेरे झूले से न खाली गया अफराज कोई, लेके बाबे हवाइज, लेके मैं बाबे हवाइज की सनद आया हूं। हाँ आजादारो, जब शिम्र लई शोहदा के सर काट के लाया, शोहदा के सरों को पिसरे साद ने देखा, सरे असगर मासूम का मौजूद नहीं था। ये कहते हुए शिम्र को पास अपने बुलाया, हाकिम मुझे बख्शेगा नहीं तुझको खबर है, जा ढूंढ सरे असगर मासूम कहाँ है। तारीख में इस जुल्म का मिलता है हवाला, जालिम ने राहत खोद के असगर को निकाला। सर काट चुका खूनी तो नेज़े को संभाला, नेज़े पे गया बानों की आगोश का पाला। अला लानतुल्लाह अलल कौम ज़ालिम। जज़ाकल्लाह।
'Thank you so much, Murabi Mehdi Bhai, for those moving words which refreshened our hearts in the light of these beautiful personalities. Jazakallah khair al-jaza. The family has decided to highlight a cause, and before mentioning the cause, I know we are fast approaching namaz, or it has already started. I'll just take a few more minutes of your time. I'd like to ask you all for 30 seconds, and I have a timer here. I want you to think of, from the moment that you have woken up today, how you have interacted with this life-giving force, which is water. And I'm starting my clock now. How today you have interacted with water. "30 seconds seem like a very long time. But you may have thought of all the things that water enabled you to do. In the light of this, I just want to tell you a few facts before we come to something else. About 785 million people lack even a basic drinking water service. Globally, at least 2 billion people are using drinking water which is contaminated with feces. It's unthinkable. Contaminated water can transmit a plethora of diseases, and it's estimated to cause 485,000 diarrheal deaths each year, or 1,300 deaths per day, or 1 per minute. When we think of water and people in water-needy countries, what do we think of? We think of a child holding a cup of water to his mouth, and we think of that water is only quenching their thirst. But if you knew that water is the basis for everything, not only do people drink from it, which is the most basic necessity, water is a stepping stone for all future and further development. People are better able to practice hygiene and sanitation through water. They can enjoy good health and are more likely to attend education where they can further themselves and realize the potential that lies within them. Parents are able to put aside worries about their children being struck with these diseases. Instead, they can focus on children getting an education. Water also waters their crops, their animals, from which they can diversify their income. In memory of beloved Hussain Ali Asghar, the families are raising funds for a water well in Pakistan for communities through the Zahra Trust, and donations of any amount are welcome. For more information on this or how to donate, please see the front desk in the foyer. And I finally want to end with the hadith of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq salawatullahi alayhi. The reward would be enough in itself that you are helping another creature of God, but it doesn't stop there. He says, cure your sick by giving sadaqah or charity, and remove troubles and mishaps by giving charity, and increase sustenance by giving charity. So not only are these creatures of God, these beloved creatures of God being assisted, but God also rewards the giver. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We will be preparing for namaz now, which will be starting in a few more minutes. So please prepare for namaz for those of you who wish to do so, after which there will be niyaz in the dining room. And finally, can we recite the Surah Fatiha in the name of baby Hussain and all marhumin and all marid. Al-Fatiha.